Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out Algorand's price chart, and I'm gonna tell you why despite this phase on the downside in Algo, we really don't have a whole lot to be worried about. In fact, everything, at least so far, is going according to the bullish play. So are you ready? Let's dive in and see what is going on. And I do think maybe it's best to start today's update by talking about what is going on in the mid to long term. And I am actually in here extremely bullish, and the idea is that we are probably having off of the lowest low to about this high a 5-wave up, followed by a correction down to about here actually. And I think if I go on our own chart from, was it Binance? Yep, it absolutely was. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 off of the lowest low, followed by an ABC running flat, which into our C leg we should be able to find a 1 2 3 4 5. And as you can see, we literally have all the subways for us. So maybe on a higher degree, this is going to be a wave 1 followed by a correction for wave 2, and what's next? Hopefully a great move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And I do think that this is going to happen by the end of this cycle. Now, if you want to be a bit pessimistic and you don't really want to consider this 1-2 structure, then okay, I think you should probably say we are having 5 up, sure, but now into an A leg followed by a running flat into B. And as you can see, the conclusion, at least in the next phase in the midterm, is kind of the same, meaning we are going to have one way or the other another move on the upside into wave C. Now, in terms of whether the low of our correction in Algo is in or not, right in here about 14.7 cents, you can consider many different possibilities. But in my view, there's actually a decent chance that the final low is in, and I got two very important reasons for it. Number one, off of the lowest low, what do you have? I think it's safe to say this is a 1 2 3 4 5, which is a good sign suggesting the bottom is in. And reason number two, please pay attention to this face down and just so far at least how choppy it actually is. Let's just compare timing wise to the previous move on the upside. As you can see, this move down so far is taking us about 85 days. On the other hand, this a strong bounce from the lows about 15 cents to about the highs around, let's say, 33 cents actually happened in only 25 days. So to me, this suggests despite having way more than enough time in this phase, bears absolutely failed to pull the price all the way back down to these levels, and odds are bulls in this phase do still have a decent bit of power, and hopefully soon they are going to take charge and send the price higher and higher. And why do we care about this specific move? Because you see, in Algorand, you can also argue we are having an ABC zigzag, and in terms of the subwaves, 1 2 3 4 5 into A, correction for wave B, maybe ABC, maybe WXY, maybe triangle, maybe even a WXYZ, doesn't really matter a whole lot, and then another 5 up into C. Now let's go on the live chart. You see, sure, you can say that we are having maybe in here an ABC. This is a possible scenario. However, because in here we are having a correction down and hopefully and most likely not an impulse, this suggests, well, okay, odds are this ABC scenario is not in play, since if it is going to be in play after it's over, meaning from the highs, we are going to see actually a very strong move down without a lot of overlapping of the waves. And I think we can all agree that so far at least we definitely do not have that. So what's the conclusion in here? I think according to our primary case in Algo, this is probably going to be a 1-2 series, meaning this is 1, this is correction for wave 2, and hopefully in the next phase we are going to get a good move up into wave 3 4 5, which on a higher degree is going to be into this wave 3 correction for 4, another move into wave 5. And since according to this count, the next phases is going to be into a series of wave 3s, and also in terms of Elliott's waves, wave 3 is known to be quite a strong and sharp move on the upside. Well, okay, fair enough. We can expect some very much exciting price action. I'm going to say probably in the next 3 to 5 months in Algorand. So this, my friends, is why I am actually quite optimistic overall. Now, having said all that, let's go on trading views chart. There we go. So if you remember, the last time that we talked about Algo, let's just leave this one. If you remember, specifically, we were right around the highs, and the idea was that, well, okay, if you really want to be very optimistic and you want to say we have hit the lows, well, okay, this can be 1, 2, and then big move into wave 3, 4, 5, and this can be another 1 and a 2, but on a higher degree relative to this one, and this can be into a wave 3 and 4 and 5. But we said usually we are not really that lucky, and in the short term, odds are that we are having the sub waves from this point to about this high for a beautiful looking ABC zigzag, meaning we are actually going to get a move on the downside in here. And in terms of the shape of it, we said because it seems like we are having from this point and not the highs to about this low an ABC flat, then okay, how about having a WXY in form of a flat and a zigzag? And as you can see, we did go down, and I do think that this might very well be a zigzag structure. Here is how I can argue that. So let's zoom in more and count some waves, and in my view this is probably a wave 1, correction for 2, another move up into wave 3 to about this point, actually like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correction for 4, another move into wave 5. And since in the last 2 hours in algo we actually took this important low, now this cannot be into a wave 1 or anything like that. This is going to be the end of a correction structure on the upside, probably I'm gonna say starting from this point, and you can consider ABC up in here followed by an ABC down. So yeah, these are probably the sub waves for an ABC running flat, and pay attention to what happened in here. I think this is a very clear 1, 2, 3, probably a correction structure to around, I'm gonna say maybe this point into 4, another move down into wave 5. So on a higher degree, what do you have? This might be 5 down into A, running flat into wave B, and the current move on the downside that we are having is going to be a 5 wave into our select, completing the sub waves for a WXY in form of a flat and zigzag. And in terms of the targets, let's do a quick Fibonacci analysis. There we go. So as you can see, this is about the 61.8% level. So let's hope that this level is going to hold. What if it doesn't? Even at that point, I don't really think that I should be overwhelmingly bearish. Odds are we are probably going to be headed lower in order to reach to about the 78% region, about let's say 20.6 cents. And then I'm really hoping that we're going to get a bounce. Why? Because pay attention. Let's just do this, and maybe it's best to stretch the chart a bit more. So you see, between these 3 lows in algo, the lowest one by like the smallest margin is actually this thing. And off of it, what you have, I think this can be 5 up into a wave 1, correction for wave 2, probably an ABC flat, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wave 3, ABC into 4, another move up into wave 5, and this whole move is a correction down. So how about having on a higher degree a wave 1, correction for 2, and what's next? Yep, you guessed that right, good move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. Do I have some more reasons to believe that when we get this move up is going to be quite a strong one into our wave 3? I think the answer is yes, and I believe we also talked about this subject in the previous video as well. You see, it seems like that in the short term in algo, we are having a bit of a resistance area in here, and I think this might be a weak region. Why? It actually comes down to the amount of times that we touch this region. Let's just have a quick count. This can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we touch this area, and every single time we got a reaction from it. So odds are we have actually gathered the liquidity in here, and the next time that we get a bounce and reach to about this resistance, I'm gonna say we are probably going to get a confirmed break of it, and by that I mean we're going to go above it, do a pullback, and then a continuation of the move on the upside. And by the way, above here, at least right now, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of strong resistances. So I'm going to say the moment in algo we break this important area, our move up at that point is going to accelerate quite a bit, which actually aligns with that 1, 2, 3 scenario that we talked about earlier, since in terms of Elliott waves, wave 3 is also known to be kind of a strong and sharp move on the upside. So as you can see, overall, because of the recent move down in Algorand, I don't really think that we should be overwhelmingly bearish. In fact, I do think that maybe Let's actually go on 5-minute time frame and see what is happening. Okay, I'm gonna say this is probably a wave 1, correction for 2, into wave 3 and 4 and 5, and this white 5 wave down can be on a higher degree into a wave 3, and the current bounce that we are having, maybe it's just going to be a correction for 4. So in the next 12 hours, don't be surprised if we have another move down into wave 5, but I'm really hoping that that is going to be it, the low of our flat and a zigzag, and then let's hope that we get a very strong bounce and finally get a break of this very annoying resistance area, because if we do, at that point, trust me, you are going to see some exciting price action in algo. So overall, I think everything is going according to the bullish track, and it's very important to know that we already anticipated this phase down before it happened in the previous video, which I think back then we were right around the high. So this isn't really nothing new. And that's why I don't really think, at least right now, we should be worried about it. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Algorand's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.